343 has announced that Halo Infinite's multiplayer will be free to play when it launches later this holiday season. Let's take a look at the details that originated in a leak from a distribution partner and the FAQ they posted on Waypoint earlier this week. First off, this past Friday, there was a leak by a UK superstore known as Smith's Toys. Essentially Irish Toys R Us, this chain put up a webpage where you can go and subscribe to their email newsletter containing all of the news regarding the upcoming Xbox Series X and the games that will be made available on that platform. This webpage included a small snippet that pertains to Halo Infinite fans, and it goes like this. The legendary Halo series returns with the most expansive Master Chief campaign yet, and a groundbreaking free-to-play multiplayer experience. Enjoy up to 120 frames per second and greatly reduced load times, creating seamless gameplay with the Xbox Series X. Now, it doesn't take a genius to spot the big mistake here. This post lets slip that Halo Infinite's multiplayer may not only be 120 frames per second, which would be the very first time a console FPS has ever done so, but also that the game's multiplayer component might be free to play as well. After this set the internet ablaze for a few hours, 343 responded in the afternoon on that same day and tweeted, "Halo is for everyone. We can confirm #Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and will support 120 FPS on Xbox Series X. More details will be shared later." Now this gives us as direct as possible confirmation that Halo Infinite will in fact support 120 FPS and be free to play. This is truly nothing short of incredible news. While Halo is and always has been a huge game with a deep and strong multiplayer experience and an extremely passionate community behind it, this will only help to cement it as the king of arena multiplayer games once again. Halo going free to play on all platforms, Xbox One, Series X, Windows, and Steam, will help to garner a massive following the likes of which it has not seen since the Halo 3 days. Obviously, Microsoft has seen the success of titles like Fortnite and Call of Duty's Warzone suite and wants to get in on that action as well. But what does that mean for the game? Well, as I see it, it leads to 4 really important points. 1, a massive, bustling community. Like I said, Halo is huge and will only get bigger thanks to it being completely accessible by anyone that is even remotely interested in playing completely for free. 2, it will likely get a battle pass. Now, this is one that will probably be the most interesting and one that I am planning on doing a completely separate video for, but to quickly summarize, Halo Infinite will most definitely have a battle pass. There's hardly any way around it. It's how all of these free-to-play experiences work these days. Even my other favorite game franchise, Destiny, has moved to supporting itself with a seasonal battle pass that grants access to a ton of content, with only some of it being locked behind the, in my opinion, extremely affordable $10 per season paywall. And keep in mind that each season, at least in Destiny and Fortnite and things like that, is roughly 3 months long. $10 for 3 months worth of content. Not too bad in my opinion. The third point, potential for cheaters. 343 and Microsoft need to make sure that from day one there is a solid anti-cheat in place. If not, Halo Infinite will absolutely be riddled with cheaters, similar to Destiny 2's current situation, wherein there is an anti-cheat in place, and it does its job fine, but not well enough. Any PC Trials players out there know exactly what's up. And number 4, the unknown. This is a wild card. As of right now, August 4th, we really don't know what this means for the future of Halo or how far this extends itself. Does this free-to-play model include custom games and Forge? Theater mode? What are you getting when you pay that $60 for Halo Infinite's campaign? An included battle pass? How much of Halo Infinite is free versus paid? That seriously needs to be clarified well before the game releases, and I fully expect it will be. Like I said, this is largely great news, but there is still a ton of details we need before the game's release, and I'm putting a good amount of money on a mid or late August reveal for the multiplayer and what that all pertains to. Next up, really quickly, 343 put out a Halo Infinite Q&A following last week's reveal, and it had some really solid info in it, so I figured we'd take a quick look at what I thought was important while we're all here. The biggest thing that was brought up was, of course, the graphical fidelity, wherein 343 admits that the build was, quote, several weeks old. by the time the demo was shown off, but several weeks old may not sound like a lot. It certainly could mean that the build was as recent as a month or two, or it could mean that it was as old as 3 or 4 months. There's really no way to say for sure, and we'll likely never know, but this, as with most things, should only truly be judged when the game is fully released this holiday season. By the way, I did make a video on why I think the release date is November 20th, and if you would like to watch it, you can click the card on the top of the screen now. 343 did say that they are committed to the art style based on fan reception to Halo 4, Halo 5, and Halo Wars 2. I think it's important to note that not all of this is necessarily a bad thing in my interpretation of what they're saying here, and that they're sticking to their guns with what they've gone with in Infinite. They did say that some things that some fans have pointed out in the demo are things that they are taking very seriously and plan to address them as they see necessary. Look forward to Halo Infinite's final release visual fidelity being of a much higher quality than what we saw in July. Next up, as Chris Lee, the studio head on Halo Infinite, previously said, the multiplayer flighting they originally were hoping to put out for fans isn't where they'd hoped it would be, and they plan to give us more details on a public flighting, and that as the game releases and beyond, they'll continue to do flighting for new features and updates as they have been with the Master Chief Collection. They also let us know about things like Halo Infinite having fewer invisible ceilings and return to battlefield barriers, that the campaign will support 2-player split screen and 4-player online co-op, and that the battle rifle that we saw in the campaign trailer that was released after the demo is not actually a BR-55, but instead a new BR-75. Perhaps the most interesting or disappointing thing that they told us, depending entirely on your perspective, is that the MK50 Sidekick and the CQS-48 Bulldog will be taking the place of the classic Magnum and Shotgun respectively at launch. They did try to soften the blow by reminding us that Halo Infinite is a platform and one that will evolve and change over time, that they have big plans for the future of the game, and that seeing those classic versions of the Magnum and Shotgun are not outside of the realm of possibility, specifically stating that they could live side by side with the Sidekick and Bulldog and fill very different roles. This is a very interesting choice to say the least, given 343's inclination to call this a return to form, boasting its classic Halo appeal. While I'm not personally bothered by this choice, the idea that a Halo game has never done something like this is absolutely ridiculous, as Halo Reach tossed out the battle rifle for the DMR, Halo 5's rocket launcher was not the spanker for a good long time, and Halo 2 introduced the BR and the SMG in the place of the AR and the CE Magnum. Remember Halo 2's Magnum? Yeah, I try to forget it too. Other than that, the rest of the QA is mostly things that we've already been told or will have to wait for. Just a quick reiteration on a point that they brought up from last year. Halo Infinite is a direct sequel to Halo 5. There is a pro team working on Infinite like there was on Halo 5. There will be split screen, which I mentioned earlier. There will be LAN support out of the box. The armor undersuits will be fully black. I know that a lot of people have a hard time with the undersuits having any color on them. This was a huge deal with Halo 4, less so with Halo 5, but you get what I'm saying. There will be no real money loot boxes, but again, there will probably be a battle pass. The player customization will be akin to that of Halo Reach, so if you were a big fan of the way that the customization in that game worked, not necessarily looked, but worked, you'll be pleased with this. You will get a in-game goodie for hitting SR-150 in Halo 5, and Forge will include an undo and redo button for the very first time ever. Okay. Man, that is it for the news for now. I know that this is a lot to digest, but I'm much happier having too much to cover rather than not enough. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like on the video, and tell me what part of Halo Infinite's multiplayer you would like to see when it is finally revealed. I'd love to know. Finally, you can find me on Twitter at Pfhorbear and on twitch.tv/Pfhorbear, where I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at least every week. And don't forget, I am hosting a giveaway that you can enter. The link for that is in the description below. And I am hosting a 24-hour charity live stream on August 9th, starting at 10 a.m. Central Time, benefiting the Trevor Project. I love you all so very much. Thank you for the continued support. And until next time, be safe and have fun.